This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
This is Capital Connection. Fridays during the Noon Report, we give you direct connection to all that's happening in Albany and Harrisburg with the experts on the issues at the state capitals. They are Jason McGuire with New York Families and Michael Geer with the Pennsylvania Family Institute. Michael, I want to start with you. Election day is drawing nigh. I thought it was interesting. The head of the DNC said that the Pennsylvania Supreme Court retention elections are among the most significant votes that will be cast anywhere in America on Tuesday. Why is this such a big deal in the Keystone State?
It's not surprising that the Democratic National Committee is saying that, especially given how friendly these three Pennsylvania Supreme Court justices that are up for retention votes. They've been very friendly to the Democratic cause, with the biggest issue is redistricting. They have gerrymandered districts to give more seats to Democrats in Congress in the past, but also the abortion industry is backing these candidates, these justices for retention. More than $10 million is reportedly being spent on this election, so you understand why it's getting so much attention.
Yeah, Jason, I'll ask you the same of the New York City mayor's race. Obviously, it only affects those in the Big Apple, but is Zohran Mamdani the face of the Democratic Party going forward? Why do people of faith especially need to be paying attention to what's going on in New York City, and why does it matter so much that even in an off year, we take part on Tuesday and cast a ballot?
Yeah, I'll tell you that should the Democratic Socialist Zohran Mamdani be elected in the New York City mayoral race, and all indications are that he will at this point, it will have an impact on state policy in Albany. The influence of the mayor's race there will help the rise of democratic socialism in the state capital. So it does have an impact. But, really, even these off-year elections, so-called local races, those are the issues that really hit home. What happens to your town, your village, your local justices, your state Supreme Court, all of those races have a direct impact on your life. And so believers do want to be involved, because if we're not making that choice, someone else will be.
Yeah, if you don't vote, you can't complain. I've always said that. So make sure you take part on Tuesday. Michael, a number of Pennsylvania politicians are standing up in support of the Dads Defending Daughters Act, real similar to the Fairness in Women's Sports Act and what it would accomplish, banning biological boys and girls sports. Why is this legislation necessary in Pennsylvania?
Well, I want to give first a shout-out to Representative Clint Owlett from Tioga and Bradford counties, and others, including Jonathan Fritz and Joe Ham, who took part in a press conference this week to advance this legislation to try to get a vote. The House Democrats have been steadfastly against this legislation. You wonder why they are, because it's an 80% issue for the people of Pennsylvania, people nationally, to say that there should be fairness in girls' sports. It is important because, in spite of what the Trump administration has done, the guidance that they're providing, there are still school districts in Pennsylvania that are not towing the line, and we need to put into law the protection for fairness in girls' sports, and also to protect locker room and bathroom privacy.
Yeah. Well, I know it's a long way off yet, Jason, the 2026 gubernatorial race, but there was a poll out recently that I thought was kind of interesting. The Manhattan Institute says Elise Stefanik is now ahead of Kathy Hochul, just a point ahead, 43 to 42%, but similar polls back in the summer had Hochul up big time in this race. You're pretty confident that Stefanik is going to jump in. 4 years ago, we were saying the same thing about Lee Zeldin, that was going to be real close, but Hochul ended up winning that one. Do you think a hypothetical Hochul-Stefanik matchup will be much closer than the one 4 years ago in New York?
I do. I think it's going to be a very close race. If you remember, Representative Zeldin lost that race by about 6 points, and based on some polling we're looking at, internally, the Stefanik campaign had them within 5 points, and now this Manhattan Institute has Representative Stefanik up 1 point. If she's beginning from that position, I don't suspect it will be this easy all along the way. It's going to be a tough race.
Yeah.
But I do think that there's a narrowing that is happening here as people are waking up to what's happening in our state.
Yep. Boxing great Mike Tyson was making the rounds, pun intended, Michael, in Harrisburg this week, trying to make Pennsylvania the 25th state to legalize adult-use recreational marijuana. Iron Mike, as they call him, says 500,000 jobs could result from pot in Pennsylvania. Why is he so interested in this issue, and could he influence enough lawmakers to make this happen?
Well, first of all, I'll just say that Dan Bartkowiak from our team and some others were up there observing Mike Tyson as he was making the rounds there, meeting and doing selfies with legislators and things. And he was clearly high. He needed to be helped up the stairway and those sorts of things. He has an addiction to marijuana to the tune of about $40,000 a month.
Wow.
Is what he's using. But in addition to that, he stands to make gobs of money. His company called Tyson 2.0 is set to make about $75 million in marijuana sales in this year alone. So money is behind it. Money is why there are so many lobbyists in Harrisburg pushing for this. It's going to take the people of Pennsylvania, those listening to this, to call their legislators to deliver a knockout blow to this proposal to legalize commercial sale of marijuana in Pennsylvania.
We're not talking about Grandpa's marijuana either. This ain't the pot they smoked at Woodstock, Jason. This is high-potency marijuana that is literally killing kids. Years ago, and this is a study that came out, I'd love to get your thoughts, Jay. Years ago, it was thought that cigarette smoking was a gateway drug to marijuana use. Now, ironically enough, research shows marijuana use is actually a gateway drug to cigarette smoking. How about that? Your thoughts?
Yeah, recently I've been watching the numbers, and the state has been reporting that nicotine-use cigarettes smoking among teenagers has been at a historic low. But I think we're about to see some of those things reversed. We are now sending the message that it is okay to smoke certain kinds of products. In this case, the state is saying, hey, it's fine if you smoke pot, just don't smoke nicotine. That's an inconsistent message, and as we often say, the only consistent worldview is a biblical worldview. So when government sends those mixed messages, well, our teens are going to pick up on that. And I think it will have an impact on their behaviors.
Profits ahead of public safety. When will they wake up? We'll see. Michael, you've got an event coming up the day after Election Day, Wednesday, November 5th. It's going to happen in Pittsburgh. You're talking about a significant, probably not being reported enough, but this is a significant abortion case out of Allegheny County. What's at stake here?
Yeah, so we started the call here this morning, or the discussion this morning, talking about the Pennsylvania Supreme Court retention races. And this case directly relates to that because the Pennsylvania Supreme Court has before it a case dealing with expanding abortion and requiring taxpayer funding of abortion, which is against the law in Pennsylvania right now. The Supreme Court was favorable towards that case called Allegheny Reproductive. They've sent it to the Commonwealth Court. They're going to have this hearing and court case there on November 5th, and then we're holding a prayer gathering of pastors and others there in Pittsburgh to help pray for a good result in this case.
Gotcha. Again, that's Wednesday, November 5th. And the day after that, Jason, November 6th, you're going to have a screening of a documentary that you've recently produced. And it really gets into the nitty-gritty of what you experienced over the summer, having served over 50 days in incarceration. Jason, if you would, for those who aren't familiar with your story, explain what it is and what this documentary is all about.
Yeah, just in brief, we'll say that as a result of Attorney General Letitia James' lawfare, I spent 53 days of intermittent incarceration, weekend jail behind bars over 53 days. This documentary that we've done really tells the story of that. It shows how we were targeted by the Attorney General's office. We believe for our pro-life, pro-family views, so not only for political persecution, but also religious persecution, the biblical values that we hold. There is the first screening for this documentary. It's going to be on Thursday, November 6th. It's going to be at Berean Bible Church, the Bainbridge campus, though. Okay. So we're looking forward to that on Thursday, November 6th. And then we're looking forward to going around the state and talking more about this story.
Yeah, I've had a chance to see bits of it, Jason. I can't wait to see the whole thing. Do you have a release date yet for the whole thing, or has that still not been determined?
We are going to be releasing it in screenings around the state, and then at a later time there'll be a more public release on a website. We want to give people the chance to come to some of those screenings first.
Gotcha. All right. If you want to know more about that and what's happening next week, Jason, you have a wonderful website where folks can go check you out. What is that, if you would?
NewYorkFamilies.org.
And Election Day fast approaching Tuesday. Be an informed voter when you go and cast your ballot. Michael, where can folks find those online voter forms that you've got?
That is pafamilyvoter.com.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.